about a bit about net zero. We've heard various things. Both Tony and Steve talked mentioned about data. We often hear companies talking about the challenges of getting the right data, especially scope 3, especially their wider supply chain, the things that are outside of their direct control. So Steve or Tony, what are your thoughts on this, please, on the challenges of how companies can address the challenges of getting getting the right data?
Every time.
Thanks, Steve. Yes, definitely. When we look at this whole process around quality of data and getting good quality data, the challenge often is, as Steve mentioned, not so much around scope 1, scope 2. It's very much as you start to externalize your practices that organizations have become resistant or challenged to try and figure out how that data can be captured. I mean, the way that we obviously tackle this is through technology itself. We as a technology platform provider created a SaaS solution that allows many hundreds, if not thousands, of locations, sites, suppliers to gain access into a platform that has ready-made frameworks and ready-made structures that allow you to input selected data, material data that can be then uploaded and presented to an organization, a corporation, an accreditation firm, such as potentially Steve's here. And I think we are seeing that, to a lot of people's surprise, there is a lot of data in many companies. We find even when we go into organizations, SMEs and mid-cap, when we ask questions about, can you provide us information about electricity consumption, energy consumption, that data is readily available in organizations. And so perhaps there's a little bit of a misnomer about how complex it is to get data into this whole ESG process. I think the important thing to look at is, and one of the things that we think is a bit challenging, is many organizations look at multiple frameworks and feel that they're very, very complex. So, if you start to look at different types of frameworks around the world, there's a sense of this is a very complicated process for us to be part of as a mid-cap or an SME. And that's actually where a huge amount of the data lies, is actually within the SME and mid-cap framework. So how do you get those organizations to at least start the journey map? I think we have to be very selective into what we're trying to achieve at the preliminary phases of capturing data. We want to be able to get organizations to provide a minimal amount of data, but very accurately. So if they can provide even 3 to 5 KPIs around environmental impact, waste consumption, energy and water, but provide us transparency around that and auditable information that we can capture monthly, that's a huge step in the right direction for us to sort of see the ability to get scope 3 measured out effectively. Once we see that 3 to 5 KPIs can be established and that companies can fundamentally see some trends around that, it gets easier and easier as you go down that process to say, let's expand that footprint into other facets of the organization and subsequently perhaps into even social governance or health and safety and risk. All of those assets are definitely there. But I think the important piece of this whole process is to try and achieve the preliminary phases of data capture without trying to, literally change the world. It's kind of, we need to get the right data, even if there's moderate amounts of data there, but we have to be very accurate, transparent, and harmonized around that structure. And I think those processes are beginning to be put into place and action quite effectively. It's just a huge market to tackle when you think about scope 3 and the thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of suppliers out there. So it's getting a small percentage of data, perhaps as an interim solution, but getting it completely accurate. That would make sense.
Maybe I could add to that. Look, a carbon footprint of your organization, if you're not measuring a carbon footprint, it's a brilliant piece of management information about how you can run your company better. So if you are looking, sometimes, for an SME, we work mainly with SMEs, I work with some big corporates, and for them, they want to go to their supply chain and ask about what their carbon footprint is and understand how much carbon is in their supply chain. They're trying to minimize risk bills. There's the opportunity there. I'm sure we'll come on to opportunity later. But for the SMEs themselves, in actual fact, just gathering this type of data sometimes for the first time, then suddenly unlocks all sorts of opportunity about how you can run your organization better. Because the first thing you're going to do is you're probably going to find out you're spending too much on your energy. you're probably going to find out that you're using too much energy. You're probably finding in actual fact your vehicle fleet could be much better optimized through route optimization, different types of, even driver behavior patterns and so on. So what we know is that actually the first year, 2, 3, 4, 5 of measuring your carbon emissions unlock vast opportunities to take money out of your business. And that's just direct to the bottom line. So it's just a brilliant pie chart to show to your team and your management team, people in the business at any particular level, about, look, how can we operationally get better and more efficient? And it's going to go straight to your bottom line, and you're going to cut carbon, and that makes you more competitive, and it makes you aligned with your customers.